Welcome everyone and good evening. Obviously I'm not Kevin Moratti, it's pretty obvious. My name's Pete Cowley. I'm filling in for Kevin tonight along with his wife Linda, not too well, so they didn't want to come and spread the bug that's going around New Plymouth and New Zealand at the moment. So I'll be hosting, but I won't be saying too much. Peter, the moderator, will be taking over. But I'd like to do a very warm welcome to you all in the audience. Thanks for coming along. And a very, very special welcome to the 14 new candidates we have on stage tonight of our first Meet the New Candidates evenings that we're going to have. So without further ado, I'll ask Sheridan just to quickly come up and explain a couple of things, and then we'll get the show on the road. Thank you.
Hello everyone. We just wanted to cover off how we have organised the two events for the new candidates. We'd originally hoped to have two events with all of the new candidates, but with 32 new candidates standing this year, we needed to split them into two groups, and they had an offer to attend one event each. When the candidates register with the MBTC, they provide an email address for event organisers to contact them. Everyone except Mullet Muzz McDowell, we got an email address for. Mullet's heard about us, so Mullet is here tonight. But we wrote to every candidate giving the option of attending either tonight or on the 15th of September. The group here tonight are the people who picked the 4th of September for their event. You will see that not all the candidates are sitting on the stage. The candidates on the stage sent us an RSVP reply. Those sitting on the chairs next to the stage, who are of course very welcome to be here, but we had not received an RSVP reply for them. The stage had already been set up by the hotel staff for the 12 people we knew were coming tonight, so for logistical reasons we've had to seat the extra candidates to the side of the stage. But they will come up on the stage to answer the questions. All right, so that's why we've got the split going on the stage, just so everyone understands. All right, I'll now hand over to Peter.
I'll just introduce Alex and he'll explain to you how the timekeeping is going to go for each of them with their 3 minutes.
Okay, with the 3 minutes, when you're at 2 minutes 30, you'll get one ding. Don't stop. Keep going. When your 3 minutes is up, you get 2 dings. So with the 2-minute questions, it'll be still with 30 seconds to go, one ding. When the 2 minutes are up, but a lot of them, of course, will be yes, no's, and that's won't come into play. But hey, good luck, everyone.
Thanks, Alex. Now I'll hand you over tonight's moderator, Peter Attell, who's going to run the show for us. As you know, we are on a platform, so we have got no alliance with any of the sitting candidates. We're not allowed to have, so hence why we've chosen to have it done with a moderator. All yours, Pete.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Let everybody know this is being recorded, and that will probably be posted if it's a successful recording. We had some glitches on the first one, but it'll be online. But be aware it's being recorded. There's not to be any heckling. Clearly, we want people to pay the courtesies that are due to the people who are putting themselves out there to stand on council and represent us. And it's this great opportunity to have them here. I guess housekeeping, phones are off, the usual things there. If there's a fire, well, I imagine staff will turn up and we'll find an orderly way out of here. And if the fire's in that corner, we could probably get to the bar for a drink on the way out or something, but let's anticipate that won't happen. But we'll be guided by their staff in that situation. I think we should actually, again, welcome the candidates, thank them for standing and putting themselves forward. So before they put their foot in their mouths, could we just show our appreciation for them being here? The seats have been allocated on a random basis. We'll work through a series of questions, and as Alex has said, they'll each have 3 minutes to answer a question. We'll probably go 1 to 12 first time round, and being an accountant, I'll try and juggle the numbers for the next round of questions. I'll ask each person to come up and introduce themselves, and in particular, the ward that they're standing for, because it won't be a case that we're voting for everybody that's on the stage. So again, for the candidates, please make it very clear which ward you're standing for. I'm happy to repeat the questions as needed, but the first part is actually for the candidates to introduce themselves and to speak for their 3 minutes. So based on the random allocation of the seats, would you welcome Peter Morohu to the stage?
So just while Peter's walking up there, all the candidates will come to the lectern to do their 3-minute intro, and then when we do the questions, you'll have a choice if you want to come up. We would prefer if we just pass the microphone down the line the way Peter's called the numbers, just so you know. Thank you.
Kia ora, good evening everyone. Peter Morohu, standing for the Māori ward. You might want to consider, what does the Māori ward bring to the New Plymouth District Council? Well, first of all, it brings $300 million in treaty settlements. That's the first thing. That's not just numbers on a page, that's investment in businesses, in jobs, in homes, and in people. We are business owners. Māori are business owners and employers. We own the Novotel Hotel. Through PKW, we are the largest dairy farmers in the region. Our crayfish company, Tātai Koda, the largest in the country, exports to Asia. We are property developers, like Ngā Motu House and the other housing projects that we have going across the district. We are property investors. The New Plymouth Courthouse and the police station sit on our land. We are also providers. Through Tui Order, we deliver vital health services. With Ka Uru Order, our iwi saver scheme, we are opening the doors to home ownership for more of our whānau. And every year, we give hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to support our students into education. The impact? We employ hundreds, we contribute millions to the local economy, and we think not just for today, but for tomorrow and for future generations. But let's not forget, beyond the businesses and the balance sheets, Māori are your neighbours. In some instances, your colleagues, and perhaps even your friends. We are lawyers, environmentalists, teachers, accountants, judges, factory workers, office workers, builders, architects, business owners, professional directors, police officers, parents and students. We make up 20% of the district's population, and yes, we also are some of the largest ratepayers in the district. We want to keep the Māori ward because representation is important. So when you cast your vote, remember this, no stress, vote yes to keep the Māori ward. Kia ora.
Thank you, Peter. Ewan Darling, please.
Hello, my name is Ewan Darling and I'm standing for the Kaitaki Ngāmuti General Ward. I've lived in New Plymouth all my life and I've been self-employed for 33 years. I'm a hard worker and a straight shooter. I live by the philosophy that if you look after the cents, the dollars will look after themselves. As a business owner, I know how to balance a checkbook and live within my means. One of the first things I'd like to do if elected to council would be to have a full audit of the council's expenditure and their processes to determine why there are so many cost overruns. We need to look at implementing systems that are robust when it comes to tendering and costing contracts and services. For example, the council spent $25,000 last year on hanging baskets in Waitara. This year the price has gone up to $42,000. How is that possible? Why isn't the council buying the baskets directly from the suppliers and getting the Parks Department to install them? If the council purchased 100 baskets for $35 each, we'd be looking at $35,000, not $42,000. Employing contractors to do council work that is then overseen by council staff seems cost prohibitive. We should be employing staff to do the work just like we do with our Parks Department. The consents process needs to be streamlined to provide balanced and cost-effective outcomes that benefit the community, developers and builders. The spin-off from this is it would stop council spending big money on outsourcing compliance work that should be done in-house. The government is presently streamlining the RMA, which should also free up council resources. I believe we should pause the work on the Sports Hub, the Queen Street development and the Waitara Walkway extension until we review them and bring our debt under control. The council needs to get back to doing the core service as well. We need to look at reducing the opening hours of the Len Lye Centre to weekends and public holidays. I think we need to also explore ways for it to generate its own income. Another area the council could cut costs in is by removing itself from the local government New Zealand. This would save the ratepayer over $100,000 per year in membership fees. Businesses are struggling. The council has made parking expensive and difficult. I'm proposing the first hour parking in the CBD should be free, followed by lowering the fee from $3 back to $2 per hour thereafter. What's more important, $3 in a shop till, $3 in a parking meter, or $20 or $100 in a shop till? A shop is paying rent, taxes, rates and wages. I want a council that listens, and if elected, I will listen to you and be a voice for you at the table. I will argue for the little guy, the small business and the ratepayers. I'll be open and honest and will do my best for you and our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ewan. Michael O'Sullivan, please.
Hi, I'm Michael O'Sullivan and I'm standing for the Ngāmutu Kaitaki ward. We need to break the cycle of the last 6 years of increased spending which has led to more debt. In that time we have suffered unaffordable rate increases. A rate cap would be a good start along with a full review of all the council's existing and future projects. The council table also needs better balance going forward. It does not represent the community anymore. But be careful who you vote for, as we don't need more of the same. I will bring to council years of experience in infrastructure and maintenance, which is sadly lacking at the present, to ask the hard questions about scope, methodology, risk at workshop level to help stop wasteful spending. Infrastructure and maintenance always takes priority and not to be neglected. As always, this leads to greater costs in the future. Councils are famous for building large projects without costing the running and the maintenance, which works out to be between 15 and 20% of the value of the project. For example, the stadium cost $50 million. Running and maintenance will be $7.5 million a year. We need to get better control on all council contracts. This constant blowout of costs is inexcusable and shows poor management. We need accountability. A classic example of contract blowouts is the thermal dryer at the Carousel plant. some 70 million plus. We need, we need to have all the options on the table when costing projects and to be open to the public scrutiny when they're awarded. We need to open the door for local contractors and suppliers, not large multinationals that do not have our best interests at heart. I could go on. I simply ask for your vote. Number 1, vote for me, Michael O'Sullivan. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Debbie Hancock, please.
We're now at the crossroads, folks. We need to look toward a remedy for problems departing council has left us. My name is Debbie Hancock. As a district-wide candidate, I share your concerns about double-digit rate hikes. Where will good people go when they're rated out of their homes by rising rates and water bills? You're worried. I'm worried. We have people living in cars now. We cannot expect our grandchildren to clean up this mess. It's up to us women to step up. We are the backbone of most families. We play a crucial role in shaping future generations. We need to have our voices heard. We need to participate in the growth of our community to ensure our support of families. Council need to be a stakeholder in our children's development to make sure this happens. These kids will become our future. I'm not here to make promises I can't keep, but I will fight for what I believe is the ratepayer voice. My plan is simple. I would expect good mayor leadership with like-minded fellow councillors to work together to ensure that ratepayer money is channelled in the right places. Roading, rates, infrastructure, and do that well. Let's relegate the must-haves to the back burner until we have our core debt under control. I have owned and operated a business, so I know we cannot run a business built on cash flow alone. We need to have some debt to make that business viable. This is the same for MPDC. They are borrowing too much. They have a captured audience with ratepayers. They are placing strain on ratepayers with crippling interest costs to service that debt. If it was a normal business, it would be bankrupt in no time. We need to look at council staff to see where they are top-heavy and who is getting paid enormous amounts of money for shuffling paper. If this means job losses or restructure, so be it. That is the cost of doing business. I have said before, amalgamate Venture Taranaki to the floor above the council building. It is an empty floor. Let's look at this another way. Let's see what value and opportunities Venture Taranaki can bring to us, the ratepayers of New Plymouth. They are there to foster a thriving Taranaki economy by supporting our people and environment. Venture Taranaki should be searching for businesses to relocate and set up here. They should be looking towards creating growth in our community. They could be looking for businesses who are struggling with costs in a major city. These businesses could benefit with smaller branches in a town like ours. We need to get businesses to bring external money into the district to support our way of life and fill empty buildings. This would create jobs and contribute to the economy of our town. If you want responsibility around the table, vote Kostler, Vossler and Hancock. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie, for the triple pitch. Not a bad idea at all. Moira Irving-George, please.
Good evening, everybody. I want to share a little story, and it doesn't necessarily put me in the best light, but I had my notes this morning, what I'd spent hours preparing, and we have a ceramic cooktop, and when it's off, it doesn't necessarily, when it's on, should I say, it doesn't necessarily glow red. And I had been out doing something else. I came back into the kitchen, and my notes were on fire. So I thought, well, this is either a sign or an opportunity. Shall I print my notes off again? Or shall I say that I have spent the last 8 weeks at least looking at the council, going back to school, understanding the LTP, understanding the annual plan, talking to existing councillors, trying to understand the business of council. And so I've decided that if I can't stand up here without notes and talk to you, then I shouldn't be standing as a candidate. Okay, we all know that New Plymouth is a fabulous place to live, okay, but we also know that there's a problem. So double-digit rates, we've all talked about that. One of my concerns is a lot of what I hear is people bashing what's happened with very little kind of concrete decisions or suggestions about how we move forward to fix things. So we have to take responsibility, and quite frankly, as budding councillors, if we get out there and be too aggressive about what's happened in the past, we run the risk of being in the same position ourselves in a year or two's time. So we need to be realistic about what can happen. So I believe that we should be looking forward with solutions, not looking back with criticism. So I have three actually, solutions that I would like to put forward. And there's more detail about these on your Ratepayers website. But first of all, I'd like to say that we should be doing a rates cap. And it should be capped at rates plus inflation. And it should be for as long as we need to put the house back in order. We need to get the ship steadied. So we need to be looking after infrastructure. There is no thought, I don't believe, of cutting essential services. You know, if we cut those essential services, we're looking at, drains, pipes, roads collapsing, whatever. So we need to look after what we've got, and we need to look after that well. And then we need to have a look at the longer term thing. So that brings me to my second point, which is the long-term plan. That needs a complete revisit, because it's in the long-term plan that the big capital expenditure items get included. And it's in there that quite often we're seeing that the OPEX isn't being put in line to go with the capital cost. So a review of the long-term plan lets us look at, again, making sure we look after infrastructure, but plan to go forward. And the third thing is about getting council disconnected, the disconnect from council back to the public. So what about me? I have 12 years governance experience as a regional councillor and many other governance experiences outside of that. So I understand local body, and that's important. And I also understand governance, and governance is not for us to stand up here and say we're going to go to that department and cut that cost, so we're going to tell that person to stop their spending. We need good governance. So thank you very much for your time. Moira Irving George, ka taiki no mutu.
Thank you, Moira. Please welcome Sarah Sutherland.
Kia ora. I'm Sarah Sutherland and I'm standing for Councillor for District Wide. I'm an engineer with over 30 years experience, mainly in infrastructure. And why is that important? Because as most of us realise, the biggest cost in council is the infrastructure. It's both the building of and replacing of run-down infrastructure and the maintenance of the existing. I do understand infrastructure. I do know that in order to keep costs under control when you're doing new projects, first of all, you've got to scope your project properly. If you don't know what you want to do, if you haven't worked out what is required, then you're going to go awry. And I think one of the other candidates talked about that. And then the other really important issues are things like your contract management and, of course, procurement. And also the way that you can deal with your main contractors. And all these issues have been brought up. But one of my things that, as an engineer, things that I have done over the years, I've been really quite good at looking, not just doing something the same way as it's done before, but looking at new ways of doing things and not just accepting it because that's the way to do it. And I was just going to tell a little story from a few years ago when it was a large infrastructure project and they were replacing a lot of things and included an item for $2 million for cable. And I asked why, and they said, oh, well, the cable suffered when we had the Auckland blackouts. But when I looked at the cables and I spoke to the service engineer for that particular area and looked at the records, there wasn't any evidence of deterioration. So I arranged for specialist testing, which some people were reluctant to do because it did cost about $5,000, but we had the specialist testing done and we found out that the cables met spec completely And the end result was I had a very happy client. So that's just one little story. I'm not going to suggest at the moment any things that we can do with Maura saying, I agree with some of what she said. But one of the things that has come up with from some of the contractors, for example, they've been finding lately that it's been really hard to figure out what they're meant to be doing as far as complying with consent. And I think one of the things that we can really do better with is with the communication. If we can arrange perhaps some meetings with the masters builders and the council staff and just have a chat about what the expectations are and how they are going to comply. So in summary, I say vote Sarah Sutherland, number 1 council-wide, district-wide councillor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Please welcome Simon Chadwick.
If wasteful money spending was a council KPI, they would have nailed their targets. Good evening, I'm Simon Chadwick, Taranaki born and bred and deeply concerned about the financial crisis at NPDC. The Ratepayer Alliance has exposed what many of us suspected, systemic incompetence at NPDC. Let's be direct about what this means for every household in our district. First, transparency isn't just broken, it's fiction. The Alliance rightly calls it an urban legend. When council minutes hide how decisions are made, when 61% of submitters on water management are ignored, and when projects like the Tim Tams push ahead despite majority opposition, that's not governance, it's arrogance. I'll demand recorded votes and clear documentation for every decision. Second, our debt crisis is undeniable. Since 2016, rates have soared 82%, while debt tripled to over 400 million. Now they plan on even more borrowing. This isn't just numbers, it's mortgages on our children's future. Worse, 95% of this debt is through the LGFA, where your rates guarantee loans for councils across New Zealand. If these councils default, we all pay. I'll fight to withdraw from the LGNZ and LGFA entirely. It's morally bankrupt to make ratepayers collateral for others' financial mismanagement. Third, we must confront NPDC's financial sabotage. While I support sensible environmental stewardship, their climate spending madness is bankrupting us, borrowing millions for climate adaptation while basic infrastructure crumbles. This same disregard for fiscal responsibility shows in the Sports Hub. 50 million for 6 courts, while 91% of submissions only supported it with no rates increase. Let's curtail these costly initiatives and redirect funds back to the essentials: water, waste, roads. Other candidates talk about climate targets and cultural diversity. I talk about financial survival. When pensioners can't afford rates increases, when they have to choose between heating and eating, that's the crisis that demands action. This council needs to remember they work for us, not the other way around. I'll ensure major spending decisions reflect community priorities, not council agendas. The Alliance has done the work exposing these failures. Now we need councillors with the courage to fix them. If you want a council that scraps the LGFA, slashes wasteful climate spending, and delivers radical transparency, that's the change I'll strive to deliver. If this all sounds good to you, vote Simon Chadwick, number 1, district-wide.
Thank you, Simon. Nikki Truman, please.
Good evening. I'm Nikki Truman, and I'm putting myself forward for the New Plymouth District Council in the Kaitaki Ngā Motu ward. Why? Because I want New Plymouth to be a vibrant, economically balanced, and socially inclusive community. I've lived in New Plymouth for more than 30 years, and for over 20 of those years I've worked in adult education at WIT, helping people of all ages find the right path for their careers and their futures. That work has given me a deep understanding of the challenges our community faces, whether it's employment opportunities, access to housing, or simply making ends meet. It has also taught me the importance of listening, of truly hearing people's concerns, and of making decisions based on evidence, not guesswork. My guiding principle is that of sustainability, economic sustainability, balancing rates with spending so that growth is supported without escalating debt. I know rates are front of mind for many, and while there are no quick fixes, I believe in smarter systems like user pays for water, alongside better long-term planning that avoids waste and disruption to businesses. Environmental sustainability. We have a responsibility to protect what makes New Plymouth such a special place. That means managing our resources wisely, supporting renewable energy where it makes sense, and ensuring that our infrastructure is climate resilient. And then the third one is social sustainability. New Plymouth should be a safe, inclusive and welcoming city for everyone, not just ratepayers. Our young people leave in droves due to the lack of a university here. Many never come back. New Plymouth needs to be the place of choice for business owners, for families, and our new New Zealanders as well. As your councillor, I will listen to all voices, not just the loudest or the most like-minded. I will advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves, and I will always back up my decisions with research, transparency and integrity. We have big opportunities ahead, like developing ecotourism, making the most of the Tuparakino Sports Hub and attracting major events that showcase our district. But we must also focus on the everyday basics, strong infrastructure without holding the ratepayers to ransom each year. My experience and values and my commitment to evidence-based decision-making make me a candidate who can deliver real impact for New Plymouth. I will bring insight, integrity and impact to the New Plymouth District Council. Thank you. Nikki Truman, Kaitaki Ngā Motu Ward.
Thanks, Nikki. Mike Morrissey, please.
So you've heard some policies that need to change. I'm not going to talk about policies because we know that needs all to change. I'll talk about me from my heart. So my name's Mike Morrissey. I'm running for Kaitaki Ngā Motu General Ward. I'm a local boy. I've served in the military, so I know how to defend my country, my people, my community. I'm an ex-New Zealand athlete, so I know how to train hard, focus, get the job done, and that's why I was #1 in 2013 in New Zealand. I'm the Taranaki flag bearer for the Taranaki rugby team, 25 seasons. So I know how to be loyal to my community. I run a charitable trust around mental health called Hope Walk New Plymouth Taranaki Charitable Trust. I'm the chairperson. So I know how to look after my community when we're struggling with our mental health. All these things wouldn't be done without my soul partner, my wife, Kari Tahere. What I'm going to do, if I'm a chosen councillor, is I will be your voice in the council. I will be there for my local ratepayers, my local business, and all my community, no matter what, 100%. I will make decisions around the table with other councillors to be benefit for all our community. I don't do spin. I only tell the truth. So some people don't like that in local government, but I don't care. So if you think I'm the right fit for you to vote for, then you vote for me. Mike Morrissey, #1 in Taranaki, #1 for council, number 1 for you. Let's go, team.
Thank you, Mike. Ross Johnston, please.
Good evening, one and all. Ross Johnston, standing in the Kaitaki Ngāmutu General Ward. What is being a councillor? It involves governance, it involves finance, and it involves representation. My background is steeped in all of the above. I've been involved in my own farming business for 44 years, been a director of a company that's involved in that since 2003, currently a director of another company that's involved in the communications business and owns property here in New Plymouth. Financially, I hold, I've been through the Directors Institute training. I understand balance sheets. What I've seen in the New Plymouth District Council balance sheet based against their long-term district plan shocks me. And as a number of candidates have already alluded to, there needs to be a retrenchment of sorts. But that does not mean cutting costs. This means lowering the overheads. This means better prioritisation of that which needs to be done. And I'm talking about, if you don't see much from council, we're putting pipes in the ground and we're looking after things like the dam at Pukekura Park that's about to burst, rather than putting Tim Tams in the middle of otherwise perfectly good streets. And so it's about common sense. Why am I standing? Because a number of my friends, a bit of an echo chamber I suppose, said, well, you've got the skills, the experience to bring to the table around council and offer common sense and a qualified opinion in terms of how to manage quite large businesses, how to get good results and to take the people with you. So on the representative stage, I think the centre of the orbit for council is council and people are floating around it. We need to put people right at the centre of that orbit and have council serving the people. That is the 101. And better consultative phases where major capital is being expended is absolutely essential. Getting projects done on time, to spec, to budget is paramount. Currently, we've got a debt that's going to go up by over 300% in the next 10 years if the current long-term plan goes ahead. Rates will double. So really I'm advocating stripping out of the nice to haves in favour of getting the essentials done and making sure that that which we already have is well and truly looked after for future generations. By the way, I also support arts and culture. I think it's a vital part of who we are. And if you make savings in the overheads department, all that sort of work is really quite available. Vote number 1 for Ross Johnston, Kaitaki Ngāmutu Ward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ross. Greg Mackay, please.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Greg Mackay, wider, district-wide, running for district-wide. I served my time as an apprentice at Port Taranaki, and I was there for 27 and a half years. Been in business for over 40 years, and I still love it, although I've scaled down. Yeah, we've got a lot of work to do as a community. Us councillors and mayor are here to look after what we have, not deviating from that and doing everything else that we shouldn't be doing. They talk about the LGNZ, we need to break away from that. The LGFA, which is the Local Government Funding Agency, it's more like local government financial assassination. To get out of this, we have to pay it off. That's the only way out, and then leave it. The only thing that we can do it with the community's permission, but we do not use it all, and that's our PIF fund. But unfortunately, the Mayor and the councillors concerned have put it under legislation. So it's going to be a battle to get that out of there. Once we've done that, if we use the example, 300 million out of that and whack it off our debt, which lowers our interest rate. Our interest rate at the moment this year is about 16 million. Our PIF fund only brought us back 12 million this year. So it doesn't really equate, does it? Also, what we need to do is have a look at businesses, because it's the only way that we're going to put money back into our own pockets, into our own system. We need to have a look at the first one, Power and Gas Company, where it comes back to us and not John Key shareholders. Yeah, I'm not happy with John, he's my relation. But anyway, we need to have a look at that. And I have 2 other businesses up my sleeve ready to go. And we can take those businesses national, which would be good for us. The council needs a big reset inside. We need to re-evaluate everything inside, in the building and also outside the building. I'd like to see more contractors come in from the community, not outside, so the money stays in our district. Also, we need someone like a little dump truck that we can probably purchase and go and see corrections to keep our streets nice and clean. Because there's rubbish everywhere, especially when the wind's blowing and lids blow off our recycling bins. And it needs to be cleaned up pretty quick. So all these things and bits and pieces, and I welcome ideas from the community. But we need to work the community together. Greg Mackay, number 1. Thank you.
I think there's quite a few spots open, so if we all vote number 1, I've got to have a number 2 and a number 3 and a few others there, so bear that in mind. Thanks, Greg. Ian Cummings, please.
Thank you. I'm standing for the North General Ward. My wife and I recently returned to Taranaki, and it's great to be back. And I'm excited about the opportunity to represent my community. What guides me are a few simple but important values. I believe in limited government and property rights. I believe people have the right to the quiet enjoyment of their lives and property without unnecessary interference. And I believe everyone deserves to be treated and represented equally, regardless of ancestry or identity. So I don't think Maori wards are helpful. These aren't abstract ideas, they're practical values that protect every resident and shape how I think and lead. I'm a strong advocate for free enterprise. Why? Because the private sector is where innovation, creativity and prosperity come from. It doesn't come from politicians. It doesn't come from bureaucrats. Wealth is not created by politicians or programs. Oftentimes, the best thing council can do to promote prosperity is just to get out of the way. Here's an important principle that I hold front of mind, and you'll like this, I hope. Every dollar the council spends is a dollar that ratepayers have worked hard for. That's front of mind. Ratepayers can ill afford to have their rates sprayed around nilly-willy. That's why I believe council has a responsibility to stick to the basics, deliver essential services with maximum efficiency, and spend your money wisely. I recently retired after 16 years as a general manager managing oil company terminals. Alongside that, I served 13 years on a school, year 1 to 13 school board, including 10 years as the chair. Those roles taught me a great deal about governance, leadership, accountability, and making tough decisions when they're needed. If you're looking for someone with real-world experience, someone who will speak up to protect your rights, and someone who understands that all council spending is actually taxation, vote Ian Cummings, North Ward. And if you wish to know more about me, please visit my website, iancummings.co.nz. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian. Muzz is in the house. Your turn, please.
3 deep breaths. Counting 1 to 10 doesn't work for me. If I'm annoyed, I'm annoyed. My name's Murray McDowell, aka Mullet Muzz McDowell. Thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to speak, that you weren't able to grab my email address. It is available, just have to go through a certain channel with the council. So it's actually my honour, my privilege. Here I am on the campaign train again. Here I am up on the stage. Here I go, playing star again. Here I go, turn the page. Would you agree with me? Well, anyway, I'm going for the Kaitaki Ngāmutu ward. Would you agree with me? There's a lot of negativity. What's going on? You don't have to be too blind to see. As for me, I try and promote peace, love, harmony, positivity. Authenticity, stare at me. I've got one policy. I grew up with it, got taught it. Honesty. Honesty is the best policy. I'm here, transparent. What you see is what you get. I'd like to wish my older brother a happy birthday today. Yeah, Baz. There's some awesome, absolutely awesome people, one sitting on the side after me, and here up on the stage. Experienced, well-versed, knowing what's going on. As for myself, I like to do my homework. I haven't currently begun to council meetings. I'm after a vote of sympathy. I've been suffering sciatica for the last month. Anyway, what can I bring to you? A voice. It's your choice. Who are you going to vote for? I'll use reverse psychology. Don't vote for me. Just trying to be funny.
My correction, that's Murray McDowell, Kaitaki Ngāmutu ward. Pete Burris, please come up.
Yeah, I'm Pete Burris. I'm standing for Ngāmutu Waitakere ward. Sorry, I better already wrecking the place. I'm a bit of a notes man, so I'm sorry about that. If you want to look at my profile, go onto the New Plymouth DC website. It's all up there. I've got a bit of spare time. I had 2 minutes for the speech. We've got 3, so I've got a bit of leeway on it. Might do that at the end of it. What we need is a total change around the council chamber, a transparent, open-minded council to listen to the ratepayers, the renters, the community, business people, and the like. So the mayor, the CEO, and the councillors must listen to the people's needs, wants, the most, and can afford to do for them as well. Like your car needs maintenance. You go to pull the handbrake on a hill and it doesn't work, needs repair. So the handbrake will work. I've had a good look at the pre-election report, 2025. Please look at that report if you can. Also, what we're going to be about to spend. It's well worth looking at. Where I think we can save money and stop some of these projects, or now, 51.7, the community hub. I'm not for stopping all these things. I'm saying just put the brake on for now and look at where we can spend this money and do them down the track. 42.3 million Waitara Walkway, 22.5 million the Puki Rua Green Link, 3 point on the Lee Line street upgrade, not needed at the present time, as far as I'm concerned. Put these on hold until we get our books in order, and get our rates down to an affordable level. Then relook at the projects one by one, so we can maybe afford to do some of them. Just down, had a new rugby stadium built. Thank God we got 20 million from Jane Shonta Slush Fund to build that, or that wouldn't have happened either. Now the TSB stadium upgrade getting done as well. Time to apply the handbrake once again. Stop spending for now so people can afford to pay for them rate bill again, like they can used to, or we will be forced out of our homes because can't afford to pay for them for their rates. This is just not on. Not good enough. Needs to stop. So no pet projects for now. All pets put on hold. Simple. So back to basics: water, sewage, footpaths. Is that it? Is it? Yep. Roads and facilities. So we have now got to get these looked after first. There may be some of the pet projects we have spare time to do them. Thank you.
Thank you. Collective round of applause, please, for all of the candidates. There's a series of questions here. I'm not the author of them, but I've got to pick a couple to have all the candidates having a turn to answer. This time it's 2 minutes. So that's a bit easier, and you won't have prepared answers. And I'll just be working on a random order. So the question will be the same for all of you. First one I picked out, and some of you have spoken to this already, so bear with. Do you think we need a reduction in rates, and specifically where do you see the reduction in rates coming from? And the first person here is Simon Chadwick, please.
Guess I'll use this. Right, yep, I'm pretty clear on wanting to reduce rates. I'm not going in for a big bulldozer approach. I'm campaigning on surgical precision, so looking at the numbers, digging right in there and looking for lots of ways across the board that we can improve the situation. I'd like to see the different departments within the council working together better so we don't have the same repetition of certain work done between them. Some of the other people have already said it, but looking at reducing the hours and the days for Len Lai Centre. It looks like the walkway is going to be going ahead, but I think doing it with the minimal amount of land purchase possible, with no extra bells or whistles. And where possible, to try and minimise the scope of the sports centre to make it small and minimise the amount of debt we're taking on for these colossal projects. I think I just have to get right stuck into the numbers though to find out exactly. Some of the other ones, like the council wants to upgrade their boilers, replace the gas-powered boilers with solar energy ones. I think that came at a cost of was around $5 million. If we're borrowing money to do that, I don't think that's a sensible use of money. When we've got the money there to do it, let's go and do it, but not borrow to make that happen. How much time do I have?
30 seconds.
I think that'll do.
Thanks, Simon. Just as a rough guide for people, every $15 million of a capital project is about 2% in rates. Debbie Hancock, please.
Okay, I don't think we can reduce rates. What's done is done, but we can put a rates cap on it. Like any good business, council needs to work within its budget. Thank you.
work out. Greg Mackay, please. And perhaps rather than thinking just, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but it's about increasing the rates going forward as much as anything is. Thank you.
Like all of yous, I'd love to see rates reduced. It would be a bliss to everybody. People out there are struggling. The only way we can do this is work together as a community to stop projects. No more monumental buildings, completely. We have infrastructure that we need to do urgently, and some can wait till later. And like I said before, the only way we're going to get extra money in our pockets is for us to own businesses like we used to have. Didn't we used to own Genesis? Well, look where Genesis is standing. Didn't we own Powerco? Yes, we did. And Roger Kerr-Neal, one of the managers' job for Powerco, and they wouldn't give it to him, so he said I'd sell it, and that's what he did. So we need to introduce businesses that make money for us, and like I said, power company. I'd love to see those rates come down. Because we've got to look at our future, and we'll look at our children's futures. And if we don't do that, then what do we got? Because I tell you now, if it keeps on going, we're in the crapper's ditch. With everybody homeless. Someone will be homeless. And it's not on. It's not on in my books. And all our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren coming through, we don't want to leave a big debt for them. So we have to work together as a community. But I'd like to see our businesses in a co-op. In fact, eventually I'd like to see the District Council in a co-op. Thank you.
Ewan Darling, please.
In regard to the possibility of lowering rates, I kind of think you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. I do think there's a lot of unfairness in the way the rates have been calculated. I've met people in the last few weeks that have had rates as low as $2,700 in New Plymouth. And I know of people that have got rates as high as $14,000 in New Plymouth. I don't think that's fair. And I think we need to look at ways of bringing in a bit more equality with the rating system. I don't think it's fair that people literally can live next door to each other and have exorbitantly different rates. So can we bring rates down? I think with sensible spending and drawing in the wasteful spending that we're doing, that we can definitely look at savings. I think it's only fair that we find some way to do this and move forward. Thank you.
Moira Irving-George, please.
I decided to stand on the basis of a rates cap. I've been consistent about that from day one. That's a rates cap plus inflation. The reason I think we need one, and we may not need it forever, but the long-term plan is kind of the heart of everything that we do. And we need time to have a look at that long-term plan, to go through all the capital projects, to see whether they stack up, to compare as we talk about the nice-to-haves. We need the essential services. We must look after those. So I don't believe a rates decrease is realistic. It's interesting today, on our current rates take, a 4% reduction in rates, which would bring it back to 8%, which I see a lot of people talking about from the current 12, would mean $240 a year for a household paying $6,000 in rates. So when you bring it down to that, it's not an enormous saving. It is significant for people, But I think that we've just got to put that in perspective. So I don't support rates cuts, but I certainly think we need to take some time, look at that LTP, sort out what's going forward. And the thing that frustrates me the most is that we don't seem to have operating expenses attached to things like the stadium, for example. We need to be making sure before any project gets going that it can actually support its ability to look after itself. Now that said, obviously an infrastructure program, we're not expecting that to have to pay its way, but the nice to haves definitely need to. Thank you.
Ross Johnston, please.
As governors of the council, we've got a responsibility. The question is, to address this question, do we reduce rates? Well, probably not possible, but what we can do is limit the rate at which they increase. Because if we go by the current projections, it's going to double in the next 10 years. So how would I do that? You've got to ask the hard financial questions. And why are we trying to buy land out at Brixton when there's a perfectly good paper road? What value does Venture Taranaki give to us? Why do these projects blow out when Deloitte said in 2022 the council had a range of deficiencies around the administration of contract management? That seriously needs to be addressed. I would propose other issues, but as governors we don't get to make these decisions. We get to make the policies by which the executive puts it into being, but I rather suspect there's quite a lot of money to be, overheads to be saved around the council table. If I think the service model is flawed. When you ring up the council you get this, oh please don't abuse the staff message. Now that's poor. The service model is flawed. And if you introduced an element of, say, let's be a little bit contentious here, put artificial intelligence into the place, I get more out of the phone than I can across the desk. And a lot of those backroom functions that we're paying for are probably superfluous, dare I say. And I think saving money is as good as making money to keep the RAPs, a staged retreat to a capped rate close to CPI in line with everybody's day-to-day reality. People at the centre of council, not council at the centre of people. Thank you.
Murray McDowell.
Absolutely awesome. First and foremost, you need the right mayor. Secondly, the right councillors at the table. Importantly, they all listen to the community. That's where I'm trying to fit into the jigsaw puzzle. As for the MPDC, restructure, drug test them. Because some of those decisions are just out the gate, mate. Drug test me, I'll pass. Anyway, yeah, there are savings to be made, you know, bit of common sense. That's what I was talking about, the negativity. I can't promise anything myself, except I'm going to get off the stage before that bell rings again. Thank you.
Mike Morrissey, please.
Now I have to talk policy. Rates, yeah. Yeah, we need to lower rates, so we need to do rates caps. Why? Because that way, we also need to look at a long-term plan like everybody's saying, but we need to look at it year one. Not year 2 or 3, year 1. Then we can effectively work out our long-term plan better. Every project that they have has a 30% extra cost on top of the job. So like Queen Street, 3.5 million, it's got an extra 30% to go on yet. They've already spent $600,000 in staff wages without doing anything. And that's coming off that 3.5 mil. So there's not 3.5 mil. It's going to be more. There's no accountability. So every contractor that's doing this, there's no accountability if they run over budget, run behind time. I remember when I was doing a pipeline, if we ran behind time, the accountability is we got a fine. $1 million, usually. So we never ran behind time. Otherwise we wouldn't have a job. Accountability. Council don't do accountability, so we need to change that. So if we have the right mayor, which I'm sure we will, then we'll be able to make these changes with our rates. Thank you.
Michael O'Sullivan.
Now, I believe in a rates cap. The other problem we've got, the elephant in the room, is the water, right? And what's going to happen with that? You'll end up maybe with a rate drop, but then you're going to have a new rate. Depends how it's done. This is a bottomless pit of money because we only have one water source, and that's a high risk. Lose that, you got no water, you're stuck, basically. So we have to look into it. We have to just cap the rates at the CPI, but then the CPI is deceptive because it's not true inflation, because the things you have to buy have gone up over 22% in the last 3 years. But the things you don't need to buy have gone up 2 or 3%. So they just do the average and it comes out at whatever they want, 3%. So it's a very hard thing to answer, but I think a rate cap at a sensible rate would suffice. Thank you.
Sarah Sutherland.
If we have a rates cap, it needs to be tied, as Michael alluded to the cost of construction and production, and that is actually a bit higher than the CPI. Because one of the problems is that we've got a massive infrastructure backlog that needs to be sorted. But the other thing is we've got the future of Taranaki, of New Plymouth to think about, and we've got to make sure that we don't cut everything so much that it's really unattractive for young people. We've got to make sure that we have policies to keep people here, to attract talent. There are a lot of talented people here, and a lot of the work is they're looking at staying in Taranaki and doing projects outside of Taranaki, but also, as Nikki alluded, I look at this room here. Where are all the young people, except for a couple in the front? And if we don't make Taranaki, New Plymouth attractive for young people, it's going to just go down, and doesn't matter. We might not be paying very many rates, but there won't be anybody there to pay them. So we have to, improve our income by having more people here are able to pay rates. So that's what I urge you to do, to think and balance. And that's actually what I'm standing for, is that we want to have not only to have a place that works well and efficiently, but that it's vibrant and not boring. Thank you.
I'm not standing for council. Why don't we make New Plymouth the e-games capital of New Zealand? You'd bring so many young people into the city. You'd get the kids out of the bedrooms and we'd see how fantastic they are at what they do. But it's not hard. Yeah, out of the bedrooms then. Thank you. Just that's a sideline, obviously. Pete Bewis, please.
It's actually pretty simple. It's like all these projects I mentioned before. It's like they just have an open checkbook of spending our ratepayers' money. I used to watch my mum and dad spending their money. They did one project at a time on the farm, and here they just keep on thinking, like I said, about that endless money. And we don't. It's one project at a time, not everything what I just mentioned before. It's like a race on how much money we can spend. It's just not on, you know. We just look at what we can do, one project at a time, and then we do the next one if we have spare money to do the next one. Just in that election thing I just said, that pre-election, you look on there, you get a shock. They're spending all this money at once. Man, it's unbelievable. This just has to stop. You know, it's one project at a time. It's that simple.
I won't say what I was going to say. Nikki Truman, please.
I don't think there's a person in this room that is happy with the double-digit rate increases year on year that we've had. So yes, that increase has to stop. But how to do it? I'll let you in on a secret. I haven't got the answer. Not one person can have that answer. That's why you elect people as a group, as a team, who needs to talk to the people. The people out there, the people in this room tonight, will also have some really good ideas, as well as there's some brilliant expertise up here on the stage. So it's that whole consultation, talking to people and finding out. And we've heard about pet projects. Our current mayor is a keen cyclist. Join the dots. Okay, so we have to really think about where we're spending the money and start to just pull the reins in a little bit. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
What I was going to say, not everybody gets a 12% increase in rates. Some people are getting 18% increase in rates. So again, when you see these things, it's not an across-the-board decision. There's all these other little underlying elements to the systems. Again, not standing. Ian Cummings, please.
So I better refresh what the question was. So I heard, do we need a reduction of rates? Where? I could talk about how, but where for me would be around the community development area and maybe into the environmental sustainability area. For me, it's about, there's a consensus that rates cannot continue to climb as they are. That's the consensus. So it's death to any politician who says carry on as we are. In fact, there's a great expectation that we won't just cap rates, we'll slash rates. Hate your rates over there, it says. Vote for change. I don't think anyone here likes paying a tax. Some is necessary for the services we want, and so we need to stick to the basics. So I would look at the core services and everything outside of that consider discretionary. I would also like to have a good chat with the CEO. I'm sure he's had conversations with council, and ask him or tell him, this is what we want a reduction, and tell him how much. Give him a little bit of time, maybe say half it over 3 years or something, I don't know. But the CEO will know better than anyone where these cuts could come from. So where? Also, we've got to look at what do we expect from council? The size of council determines the size of the rates you're going to pay, we're going to pay. What do we expect? At the moment, we've got central government overreaching and telling local government what they have to do, this, that, and the next thing. All that comes at a cost. It really irks me. So we need to look at where, prioritise. We do need to future-proof. I'm not just for capping rates. I actually want to slash rates. I'm serious about it. But we do need a majority in council to do that. And we need the right mayor, and I've heard that 3 or 4 times. That's quite correct. We need 8 who also agree that continuing as we are is unacceptable. So thank you.
Totally random. Peter, you were first last time. If you would come up here now. Peter Morrihu.
Well, folks,
I've seen councils try to slash rates, and guess what? We're doing catch-up now. I remember when Harry Duynhoven was first elected as mayor, his council was adamant that they were going to slash rates. And they held the rates, they held the rates, and they held the rates. Infrastructure didn't get done. And now we're playing catch-up. Anyone who tells you they're going to slash rates are in la-la land. I tell you now, they are. Because you know why? The community keeps coming to council demanding their pet projects. I saw it in the council chamber. The hub crowd, Tuparekino Sports Hub, they came to they loaded up the council gallery wanting that hub. The community wanted it. So if the community stays away from council, you might get a reduction in rates. But if you keep coming demanding your little pet projects, don't blame the council. Don't blame the council. Look in the mirror and say, okay, we're not going to want these little pet projects. We're going to stay away from council so they can hold our rates. Kia ora.
Thank you. We're now going to do some yes-no questions, and for that purpose we'll just pass that mic down and back up the rows, please. So the first yes-no question. Do you support staying a member of LGNZ? I don't mind, Simon.
No.
Yes, I do.
No.
Yes and no.
Big no.
Likewise, that's a no. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, no for me as well.
No.
Absolutely yes, they provide great support for the council. Cheers.
Absolutely no, I don't believe they do.
I'm a no.
I'm also a no.
I'm a no.
And I'm a yes. We get much better rate loans anyway.
Yeah, I'm just thinking I'm going eeny, meeny, miny, mo on the questions. If you're elected to council, will you act in a manner that is clear of perceived bias? Start here.
What's the question?
The question reads here, if you are elected to council, will you act in a manner that's clear of perceived bias? Who's going to say no to that? Right, that's all yeses. I'll go to the other question. Please hold the mic. Are you familiar with the Local Government Act?
Yes and no.
Yes.
I'm the same, yes and no.
Yes.
I'm yes and no.
Absolutely familiar with it.
Yeah, it's sort of yes and no for me as well.
No.
I've downloaded it, had a breeze through it. On council, I'll read it in detail, but no, I haven't read it in full detail.
That's a yes.
Some, but yes, no.
Once again, have breezed over it but can't claim an absolute knowledge of it.
Not really.
Yes and no.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to take a 5 or 10 minute break. Give our people a hand, please. Great news, we haven't scared any of them off. They're all still here. Thank you. So what we're going to go into now is 2-minute questions. So again, we'll have a similar system. The people will come up fairly randomly as I've got them picked out of here. And the timekeeping by Alex, again, there'll be a tap at 30 seconds to go. So, Murray McDowell first. The question is, local business is hurting. How do you think NPDC can stimulate the CBD?
Whoa. Whoa. 2 minutes. How can NPDC help the business community? Well, there seems to be a lot of different areas with this council with funding and finances that I've never heard of. It's the other main tree, the NPDC, ratepayers' money, all right, the main tree. But there's so many branches off that tree, surely there has to be some availability for the business people. To bring business into here, like I've heard tonight, Venture Taranaki, they are a branch off the tree. What the council provides, I'm unaware of what the hold up. I think some red tape, you know, with progress in that, You know, all the rules and regulations and what it takes to get consent and blah, and what it costs the people, you know, the business. You know, it's about prosperity. Give them a hand up. Give them a leg up. Let them know what's available. You know, what's hidden behind closed doors. Because I know there's some dodgy stuff that's behind closed doors. And I'm not into bribery. It leads to corruption.
Mike Morrissey.
This is actually my pet project that I wanted to help. So to help businesses, this is what they can do. The parking needs to go down to $2 an hour on a trial of 3 months, because we've got to do a trial, right? Trial period. If we can make the same or more, having our parking down to $2 an hour, then I guarantee if I'm an elected councillor, we'll keep it there. The other thing is our older people. Instead of having 2 hours free parking from 9 to 11, we need to increase it to 3 hours. But instead of from 9 to 12, make it from any time of the day. So if they want to come in at 11 o'clock and leave at 2, they can. Just swipe their gold card on the meter and sweet, they've got 3 hours free parking. Easy. No drama. Cost a little bit more from the rates, but not that much, because you're already not spending $3 an hour, you're only spending $2. So you'll stay longer in town. Currently, every business that has a veranda pays an air tax. I didn't know that the New Plymouth District Council owned the air. Holy shit. But apparently, they obviously do, because every business pays an air tax if they have a veranda. So let's remove that. That'll help the business. All right? And we need to just listen to all our people. Right? That's what we'll do. Because I'll do that. You know that. Cheers.
Maybe we should have a hot air tax. Debbie Hancock, please.
As I said in my speech, we need to look to Venture Taranaki to bring new business in here. If they did that, it would create jobs, it would continue to create economy in our town. We also, and it would foster a sense of community. So if you've got a sense of community in your town and you've got free parking or the first hour free, I'm sure that we'll get more people into town. Thank you.
Peter Molahu.
Simple. Partner with iwi, build apartment accommodation in town, and you have the people there who will make it vibrant. They will need cafes, they will need a whole lot of host of other shops and what have you. But without the population in town, then of course it's going to die. Because what's happening out in the suburbs, there are shopping centres where you don't have to pay any parking. Just go to the valley. You don't have to pay parking there. You get free parking and you do all your shopping. So you've got to have a change of mindset. And I've seen it happen in other centres, where if you bring the population into town, the town becomes more vibrant. Kia ora.
Greg Mackay.
Free parking, and if people know a little bit about leased buildings and stuff, and rates. If someone's leasing the building and it's got CPI adjustment on it, and then you've got rates and the rates bill on top of all that. Now, we also need to have a look at that, mainly with the rates on it. The free parking, I believe in free parking, take away those meters and throw them away. And I don't pay a parking meter. I've refused to pay one. So I park elsewhere and walk. We don't need them, and half of the oldies, they don't even know how to use them. So they don't go. So we take them away. Free parking for a start. And as for that air tax, which I've known about for years, it's a bit criminal, isn't it? Thank you.
Pete Beuys.
Yeah, I'm the same, free parking, but you've got to be careful on that. So all the shops also, they got, these shops keep open, so I'd restrict it to, say, 30 minutes, and then you've got 30 minutes, you can walk around those shops that are close by, and then it's up to you to move along, so somebody else can go to that shop next to your car as well. Otherwise, I'd put... Oh, can you hear me? Better? So people can actually use it as well. So people will take advantage of free parking, so everybody has can use it for the shopkeepers and yourself. So move along, 15, 20 minutes, say half hour of the first half hour, and also the road frontage or the street frontage of shops. I reckon they shouldn't be charged for that. We want to get the city vibrant like all cities. All the ones in Auckland, Wellington, they killed them. We don't want to do that. So encourage people to come to your shopping centre or your hub here in New Plymouth. Your centre of your city is the heart of your city. It's like your heart. You kill the arteries, you kill it. It's that simple. Look after the shopkeepers and have it vibrant.
Moira Irving George, please.
I think it's about a bit more than parking, to be honest. So I know the rating differential from residential to business has been brought down from 4 times residential rates to 3. And that provides some comfort to business, but I think that that's an area that needs to be looked at. If we look at the number of empty buildings in the town, the reality is that retail is moving online, and that's not just in New Plymouth, that's nationally and internationally. So it is about looking, and I agree with Peter, I think we need to bring people into our community to live. We need to be developing buildings that encourage people to want to live in town, and that will foster some growth in terms of interesting types of shopping, more food centres, etc. So council needs to sort of perhaps step up there and look at how it can perhaps provide rates relief to some of the businesses or incentives to bring new businesses into town, whether that be, you know, a year or two of free rates. The parking one, well, somebody put this to me, so it's not my idea, but I think it's quite a smart one, and that is, why do people only pay parking during the day? Because if you drive up and down Devon Street at night, it's almost impossible to find a park, and nobody has to pay a cent. So why can't we spread that parking cost, a lower cost, and why can't we spread that across the day? So it's not just businesses and shops that are paying, but it would mean some of our hospitality organisations would have, you know, visitors coming to them that would have to pay a portion of parking. I think that's a really fair idea, and we should be fostering that rather than just giving free parking. We can't afford it. Thank you.
Ian Cummings.
Okay, so we're told local businesses are hurting and how to stimulate the CBD. So, well, why are they hurting? Need to consult those businesses. They'll have to tell us. I've heard parking, and I think as Peter said, and he's right, the CBDs all around the world pretty much are dying. People are going to the mouse rather than the car to purchase their goods. This is the world we're going into. So people are voting with their feet, and they're voting not to go to Central. So yeah, it's around what can council do? Well, we could look at what compliance and, as we call it, red tape and whatnot these businesses are having to go through, consenting, etc., and we can strip that away, strip away. That's how we could, I'm not sure about stimulate, but make it easier and a better environment for businesses to opt to go to the CBD. And we've got hubs, and I think it was Peter again, well done Peter, we've got hubs where, in the suburbs, where we've got shopping centres and whatnot, and there's no parking fees. Yeah, I think a whole lot of we need to consult those businesses. They'll have to tell us what their issues are, but we're not there to prop them up. The world has moved on, and perhaps the CBD is not where you should not have your business. You could go elsewhere. That'll be a tough one to take on, but reality. So no, I wouldn't want to stimulate by giving stuff. I'll be more interested in what council can do to get out of the way so that they can prosper. Thank you.
Ross Johnston, please.
How to improve the business environment in the CBD? Well, first you've got to look at the challenges that they're facing. Most of those buildings on the Devon Street have a latent risk around earthquake strengthening. There's jeopardy that it's not going away. Most of them have got 25 years up their sleeve or lesser, and that's a reality. So really you've got to have a look at the challenges they're facing. Certainly the changing dynamic of what the centre of town, as other speakers have alluded to it, I fully agree. And Peter, you talked about housing. Yep, that's a great idea. A funky central downtown, but like Oamaru reinvented itself. I'm not saying we go that far, but the arts and I went to Chicago the other day, and what a wonderful show at the TSB Centre, and it's an opportunity. These empty buildings, it's a real opportunity to involve. The moderator talked about tech. Great idea. Let's look outside the square with what we can do with these buildings. A lot of them are redundant as people move to a fully commercially orientated mall. The CBD is no longer that, but it can be something else. And with involvement with the community, but a lateral thinking around how we can help these people, rating differentials were alluded to. If we're going to green Devon Street and make it a prettier place, alternative car parking, because the opening up the Huatoki walkway, the river, great idea, but you do need to provide alternative parking off the main street, but close by, and give accessibility for the vulnerable, the old. There's quite a good percentage of us fit into that bracket. So make it amenable to people, make it vibrant, and maybe a little different to just a strictly commercial centre. Thank you very much.
Ewan Darling, please.
Our council has proved that the cost of parking drives people out of town. When they put these new meters in and raised the price to $3 an hour, they emptied our town out overnight. I go to town and I avoid parking in town because of the new meters and the systems. I certainly don't think we should start charging for parking with these meters and everything at night time as well. People are struggling, businesses are struggling. The only time I would actually park in town now would be to go to a restaurant or something. And if I had to start paying parking meters for that too, well, I wouldn't be doing that either. So that'll kill the town more. We need to look at an hour's free parking in town, followed by a reduced parking rate back to $2 an hour. Unfortunately, we do need to have meters of some description, otherwise you'd get people parking there all day. So we need to be sensible about it. We need to find ways of getting people back into shops and being able to park and move freely in the town without time constraints that, you know, where you start worrying about the cost of it, is the best way to do it. Remember, people in shops spending money pay the rates, the wages, the taxes, and everything for the employees. Thank you.
Sarah Sutherland, please.
So everybody's been talking about the CPD retail business, and I'd just like to say what Peter and Ross said. I think they've actually pretty much nailed what's required, and we've got to go forward. But we also need, I assume that the question also refers to other types of businesses like contractors and tradies, and also some of the larger businesses that employ a lot of people, like some of the, I'll just go back to the engineering firms and some of the other ones as well. And some of the larger businesses, I'll say something like Fitzroy, they haven't had anything to do with them. They employ a lot of people, so maybe, I don't actually have the answers what we're doing there, but I think that as a council we can't just think about retail while it's important. We also need to think about the kind of businesses that are, there's probably a gender most of the wealth here, so it's a matter of listening. And I made a mention before about with contractors of improving the communication with them and the council, and making it enabling that. So yeah, thank you.
Simon Chadwick.
One thing we haven't talked about with the car parking is we've got Smart Compliance Limited. They're the guys with the cameras when you drive into the car parks, enforcing all of this stuff, and that significantly distorted the parking around New Plymouth, especially at night time. I've been caught out the odd time going to a church service and then coming out, 7 o'clock on a Sunday night, and got a ticket because I parked in the warehouse because I was trying to leave a bit of space for people close by to take the parks. Anyway, perhaps my point from that was that having some tighter bylaws with regards to how much some of the other car parks can charge might be in order. Anyway, local businesses, when there's recessions going on, local businesses have to tighten their purse strings. We need the council to be doing the same thing. One of the ways that they do that is they reduce headcount across council, but this has often been done in a way that's equal across the board, but we need to be a little bit more targeted with our approach for how they do it. The discretionary, some of the, Len is one I like to hit on a bit, but reducing some of the headcount there should be coming more, as opposed to the departments which look after permits for businesses. We don't want the If we reduce the headcount on departments where they're issuing permits, it's going to slow down business, and we don't want businesses to slow down at all. We also need to look at the way that rates are applied to businesses, possibly as a way of looking at after-tax income instead of just a flat fee, because much in the same way that minimum wage distorts the labour market by meaning you can only employ people above a certain, a person's got to provide a certain level of productivity to be able to be paid. Yeah, I sort of lost my point there, but that did link in. I'll just quit while I'm ahead.
And Michael O'Sullivan, please.
Well, Ross and Peter have more or less answered the question, but the problem we got is it's a bloody big hill, right? No one likes walking up and down hills. The regional council wants the council to remove car parks, so we're removing car parks. Less people can come to town. To redevelop inside town, right? Just to do one development, you get up for about $250,000 before you even start for resource consent. It's cheaper for a big company to go and build out here at the Valley, spend the same amount of money on a resource consent, put in 20 or 30 shops and a parking area. It's not a viable option in town. The only way is to put accommodation with off-road parking, because otherwise you're just creating the problem. You won't be able to park. You'll have to pay to park. You go into Centre City, that's where I park now, because it's the cheapest option. But then you've got to walk. So as you age, you don't like walking. So that is the problem. Thank you.
The last question. It's quite a long one, so I'm happy to repeat it for people if they need to hear it again as they're coming up to answer. And these questions are written before the candidates have a chance to speak, so some of them will have spoken to this already. So here we go. Do you have experience with multi-million-dollar contracts? So that's a yes or no, so that doesn't take up much of the 2 minutes. And the question here is, how good are you and how would you be able to recognise the issues that are in documents put in front of you relating to those multi-million-dollar contracts, which councillors get provided with and then have to vote on? I don't know if I can ask that the same again. And the order. Nikki Truman, please.
In my role at WIT, I am also the representative on the board of the L.A. Alexander Trust. I don't know if any of you know about this trust. It's an agricultural trust that is worth about $15 million. Some of it is tied up in a farm up in Tikurangi and the Fall Farms. I think you may have heard of it, some of you, and the rest is invested. So as a board member of this trust, there's 6 of us on the board, and so I am in charge as part of a team for managing that money and distributing it as scholarships to students studying agriculture and horticultural subjects, either at WIT or around the world, around the country, sorry. In terms of understanding documentation that is policy, I live and breathe it both in the board membership and in my roles at WIT on the Academic Standards Committee, etc. So I feel confident in that role. Thank you.
Moira Irving George, please.
Okay, Okay. So in my 12 years on the Taranaki Regional Council, you know that Taranaki Regional Council has some pretty substantial expenditures. So as a member of the council, we were involved in approving proposals put to us by management. In terms of understanding accounts, well, I have got a master's in business administration, but it was a few years ago now. But it certainly means that I can read a set of accounts sufficiently well to know what questions to ask, and I think that's the important thing. I have a loathing of long agendas that actually hide information, and the District Council's renowned for its 900 plus page agendas, and that would be something that I think is a challenge to any councillor, quite frankly, and maybe that's why we've seen some of the issues we've had with incorrect accounting over the last sort of few months. So I think, you know, as a member of the council, I could certainly hold my own. And I wouldn't be scared to ask the questions that I needed to have answered by the management or by the team. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg Mackay.
$1 million plus contracts, I don't think I'll have a problem with that. What we'll have to do is go through with a fine-tooth comb, take out what we don't need and put back on what we do need. It's a matter of myself. I like to read something, study it, walk away and leave it and come back, so I won't be in any hurry to make a decision on big contracts like that until we can get everything down to nitty-gritty situation. Thank you.
Mike Morrissey.
So I haven't managed any multi-million-dollar contracts in my life. Holy shit, no way. Or holy hecka. That'll get me away from that one. With reading the policy and the contracts, yeah, I can do that. I can read. Yeah. So I can, and I have understanding of policies. So I think I'm capable of making a sound decision with the right councillors around me and the right mayor. Thank you.
I'll repeat the big question again, just for the next speakers so they can remember it. It's a hard one. Do you have experience with multi-million-dollar contracts? Whether yes or no, how would you question staff or recognise the issues in the documents which councillors got to vote on? Debbie Hancock, please.
I haven't had any experience with multi-million-dollar contracts, but owning a business, as far as I'm concerned, the only difference is the noughts on the end of the contract. You look at those contracts, you scrutinise them. I would need a few days to look over it to make sure that everything was okay, and I would not be scared to ask questions. Thank you.
Peter Bills.
Yeah, I'll be straight up. I haven't had any experience on that sort of stuff as well, but all I know, I've been looking at properties over the years, but all you have to do is you really have to look at the contracts, and I hope our council, you only look at the TSB Stadium, it's the classic, what a disaster that was. So there's got to be, really look at the contracts, who's building them, and just make sure that they're watertight so that we don't end up carrying the can again. So yeah, so just look at the contracts. As we're councillors, we get in, whoever gets elected, we should be entitled to see, well, who's funding the money and who's building these things so we don't have another disaster at TSB Stadium. That's all I'll say.
Peter Molahu, please.
Yes, I've had experience with multi-million dollar contracts. The sum of 300 million springs to mind, and that was with the negotiation of the treaty settlements I was involved with. And scrutinising documents, those contracts went through every government department and was scrutinised by every single government department. And guess what? I got a clause in there that said every piece of Crown land we purchase, we get a 20% discount. It went through Select Committee, it went through Parliament, everyone praised the settlement. Then when we went to implement that clause, they went, oh, hell no, we missed that. So they took it to the High Court and took it off us. But I know how to scrutinise contracts, folks. Cheers.
Ewan Darling, please.
I have had experience with multi-million dollar contracts. I also know how to add 1 + 1 is 2, 100 + 100 is 200, a million plus a million is 2 million. The difference between mum and dad fish and chip shop and McDonald's is zeros. It's the number of zeros on the end. The math is the same. It's no difference to you and I balancing our checkbooks at home. It's simple. 1 + 1 is 2. Thank you.
Murray McDowell, please.
There's number 3. No. For the first part of the question, could I please ask for the first part of the second of the question about the contracts?
The next part of the question is, how do you think you will deal with recognising issues in the documents that relate to the decisions you're making? So when those multi-million dollar contracts come out, you're getting wads and wads of paper and saying, hey, how do we find out where the fish hooks in this one?
Okay, you get elected as a councillor, correct me if I'm wrong, you got to do your homework, you got to do your job, you got accountability and responsibility to the community. Very, very simple. A contract, all I've done is employment contracts and given 100%, because that's all I can do, and expect nothing less from me, 100%. I'm not a know-all. There are people that are there to help and assist you on the journey, and that's where you get people helping you by assisting, input, and then come to a wise, hopefully, decision collectively. So, yeah, that's about me. The only, thing is like, no, I haven't got the experience. How do you get experience? You got to jump in there. Go for it. You either going to sink or you're going to swim. Thank you.
Sarah Sutherland, please.
Yes, that's been my bread and butter for a large part of my career. So I'm very experienced with multi-million dollar contracts, but not that I've been running all of them. Usually they're part of big teams, and I've often only been usually only responsible for a little bit or part of a team, but still that can be a large section. And as far as understanding the documents, that's definitely very familiar with that, and that's what you have to do. Go through, work out exactly what's required. You've got to be able to work out what legislation's going to be impacted, and it's whether it. And quite often it's not only New Zealand legislation. I've been, do stuff in Australia. So you do have to actually have a pretty good sense of how to read and how to understand, and also who you need to sometimes get further advice from if it's something that's outside your speciality. And it isn't a difference of just zeros at the end. There's an enormous difference, and there's all sorts of risks that you have to take cognizance of and it's actually sort of like it's a really big thing, and I am very familiar with doing it. But I haven't run any multi-million-dollar contracts by myself, but I've been involved in large projects as part of a team. Thank you.
Simon Chadwick, please.
On my time serving on a local church community board, I've been involved in contract decisions in the six figures. In my own business, I've been involved in trading volume in the millions, but not contracts that large. One of the things I do for my business is risk management and looking at all the professional tools available to accurately make sure that risk is being managed correctly and things aren't getting out of control. Now, as far as contracts go and document analysis, that's something I've been regularly doing while serving on my community board. It takes a lot of time to read things over. What I've been doing in the last few period of time is I run my own local AI, and I've got some large language models which are specialised for contract analysis, and they're a really useful tool to go and make sure, and the reason I do it locally is because for the privacy perspective, you don't want to be going using ChatGPT or online tools for commercially sensitive documents. So, yep, using AI to analyse multiple documents and make sure that everything's all online is a great way of checking, double checking, and making sure that, you know, people make mistakes. You always need human eyes on things, but technology is the way forward, and using those tools correctly is a big part of it.
Ian Cummings, please.
Thanks, Simon. I was thinking about AI. So, yes, I've had experience with multi-million-dollar contracts, being in the oil industry, very large amounts. In the role of board members or councillors, it comes down to governance, and you really look at this. We're talking due diligence here. The staff, you mentioned, would I know what to ask staff and how to look at those documents? Yes, I would. But those people are employed to look at the risk, looking at residual risk, and those contractual arrangements, where does culpability lie? I'm actually looking, first of all, does this contract deliver what we want? Yeah, so it's around governance, performing due diligence, but I do like the AI aspect. It's something that I don't think we should be afraid of. In fact, whacking through thousands of pages into AI and coming up with a one-pager, very handy. I wouldn't be surprised if staff and council are already doing that, and if they're not, why not? But yeah, you do need the human element so far, maybe not later. Yeah, so that, I believe, answers the question. Thank you.
Michael O'Sullivan, please.
Yes, I've handled over $1 million contracts. Now, the secret is the scope, what you actually want to achieve. The council's writing the contract, not reading it. So we have to correctly write the contract. Now, big companies spend a lot of money tendering on your contract. So what they look for is your mistakes. And where they do, they tag the contract. So all of a sudden you're not getting what you actually wanted. So they tag the contract with extra costs. Now, there's normally, as they were saying, 30% contingency money sitting there. Now, they want that. So what they do, they will charge you every mistake you make. You might forget something. You don't know. It's been through all the people. They've all signed it off, but you've made a mistake. They will cash in on that and exploit you to the maximum. So, thank you.
Ross Johnston, please.
Have I administered multi-million-dollar contracts? Yes. Probably across 4 different fields. One, a personal field and as a farming, in the farming game, bought and sold a number of farms, more latterly operated as a company, where you've got to, the devil's always in the detail when you're buying and selling farms. You've really got to have an eye for detail around what's in front of you, read it thoroughly. Get the advice of seasoned professionals. That is, surround yourself with people who know more than you, because to pretend you know everything about a contract is an absolute folly. But first, understand it yourself, get the professional advice, then make a reasoned judgment. Secondly, as a member of the Fonterra Shareholders Council for 7 years, chairing the Representation Committee, had Institute of Director training and fully understand the implications of balance sheets as we held the board of Fonterra accountable on behalf of our shareholders. And we needed to be accurate about that, because we're going up on the stage telling shareholders just what the bully is, and we can't be talking through a hole in their head. We did need to get right down to the nitty-gritty. Now, 30 years as a member of the West Coast Reserve Leasees Association, dealing with Peters PKW Incorporation, negotiating legislative change and rent renewals. That took a lot of eye for detail, a lot of homework. You must do your homework. If you're going into a meeting where people haven't got dog ears on their stack of papers, they haven't looked at it, you've got an advantage. You must do your homework. You can tell. People haven't scribbled on it, they haven't done their homework. Must do your homework. And, there's a fourth one too. More latterly, director of 2 companies, one of which I alluded to before, but sorry, I've gone over time. No? Okay, well, that's got investment here in New Plymouth, but I'm really pleased to be able to direct a company with the experience I've got and help the next generation take their investment forward. Thank you very much.
So that's all from me. Other than for thanking the prospective councillors for accommodating my order of questions and the delivery of them. So thank you, and if the audience could again thank them very much for their answers. I will hand over to Sheridan to close the event. Thank you.
Make sure I get nice and close to that. Just one more time so that the voters remember, starting at the end, down with Muzz down the end there, can you just remind us your name and which ward you're standing in, please? Same. Yep, Ewan. Michael. Debbie. And Moira. Sarah. Simon.
Simon Chadwick, district-wide and Waipara Community Board.
And Nikki.
Nikki Truman, Kaitaki Ngāmotu Board.
Mike.
Mike Morrissey, Kaitaki Ngāmotu Board.
Ross.
Ross Johnston, Kaitaki Ngāmotu General Ward.
And Greg.
District-wide.
And Ian. So we're going out on video as well, Ian, so it'll get seen that way too. All right, thank you for that. On behalf of the New Plymouth voters and the Alliance, we want to say a really big thank you to all the candidates who are here tonight. There are multiple vacancies which will see new people being elected onto council this year, and the voters of New Plymouth really do want to know more about all the new candidates. We really appreciate you all making yourselves available for this event tonight, and we feel for all of you. walking into a room full of people who are eagerly awaiting answers to questions you haven't heard before. We understand this isn't easy, and we appreciate you going through this process with us. So a round of applause, please. And to Peter, our moderator again for tonight, thank you so much for being here again tonight. To Alex with the timing, our video man, our smaller than usual small team tonight with Kevin and Linda not here, a big thank you again. And once again, thanks to the audience for joining us tonight. With so many new faces running for council this year, we hope you being able to meet so many of them will be a help when making your voting decisions. We just want to wrap up a few housekeeping things again tonight. For candidates who are here tonight who haven't taken up the opportunity to promote yourselves on our website, or if you haven't filled in the questionnaire we have sent out, please leave your name and email address at the front table here on your way out, and we will be in touch. For the audience tonight, we have replies that are back to the questionnaires, and we've been asking some questions that we know voters want straight answers to, and many of the new candidates have been answering those questions. If you haven't already seen the questionnaire results on our website, it's on our election section pages under where do the candidates stand on issues. It's only been there for a couple of days. With technology being the challenging beast that it can be, at the moment, you can only see the questionnaire from a computer. It's not displaying correctly on mobile phones. We're working on a fix for that, but in the meantime, we hope you can find a computer to see the candidate replies. Again, with the audience, if you would like to tell others about us and the election section information we have available on our website, please grab business cards or flyers to give to others on your way out. And we need to stress again, do not vote too early this year, and please tell others you know not to vote too early either. Voting packs will start to go into letterboxes in 5 days' time, next Tuesday, but there's still a lot more to know about the candidates who are standing this year. We have another event here with the mayors next Thursday, with our friends from the Taxpayers Union moderating for us next week. We have the second group of new candidates here on the 15th of September. Stuff is putting on an event for all candidates on the 25th of September. We'll have more information about that later. And we'll continue with our rollout of our smaller chunks of voting information over the coming weeks, trying to simplify the complicated way voting is done in New Plymouth. That will all be on our website. We hope to also have a few interesting stories coming out over the next few weeks as well. Just a plug as well for our t-shirts. We haven't got any here tonight, but we have got a new batch, and if you do want some, leave your name on the list by the front door. So once again, thank you to everyone who has helped make tonight such a big success. We wish all of tonight's candidates all the best with your campaigns, and can we please have another round of applause? And I think that's us. I think I'm wrapping up tonight.